Hi guys, welcome back to TuCasaDePapel. Today we have a crafty video. We're taking this junk journal from my first collection and we are redoing/upgrading it. I made the cover of this journal with cardstock and included tea-dyed copy paper and cardstock paper for the inside journal pages. These journal pages feature digitals from my vintage Latin American and HASTA RAIZ printable collection. We will be reprinting these on better quality paper as well as all the ephemera, and we will be giving the cover a whole new makeover. So let's get started. I've already cut out a piece of craft text for the new cover and I'm trying out this linen fabric. So here's the old cover I'm using as reference. I have a similar vintage charra application to make it a textile soft cover journal. And now I'm playing with these floral applications, but I'm not steering far away from the original design. I'm trying to stay true to the name of this journal, Hasta la Raíz, which translates to the roots. I'm keeping the floral margin to symbolize the roots which connect and lead to a vintage Mexican culture. I committed to the linen fabric and I'm gluing it down with clear tacky glue. This is not much of a fancy technique, we're just following the same techniques from school when covering a textbook. I'm using tiny binder clips to secure the journal cover and the embellishments to give me the freedom of moving things around before committing. The vintage charra girl is back and I decided she looked best folded over the edge of the cover. These cute small embellishments, but they didn't quite feel right anywhere on the journal, so I ended up removing them completely. One of my favorite parts of collaging images is deciding what overlaps what image. I love how that adds more dimension and it makes it prettier to look at, like it all really did belong together. Adding lace on the spine is definitely my go-to thing right now. I think it looks so elegant and really brings together the designs of the front and back of the cover. The charra application is an iron-on application, so I removed the paper layer to expose the adhesive part. I ironed it on with an old hair straightener. This straightener has been through a lot, as much as it looks like it has. I glued on the rest of the applications with liquid silicone adhesive for fabrics. It is super strong, I've never had an issue with it, but just in case, I will be sewing some parts of the applications to the cover. Now I'm trimming off any excess fabric sticking out of the cover to clean it up. I'm keeping the inner cover the same as the original journal. I've printed these on lightweight matte photo paper. The paper is not big enough, so I am cutting it in half and we will cover the middle section with a ribbon. Since this is lightweight paper, I am reinforcing it by gluing it down on cardstock paper. Now I'm adding some embellishments. This Fin de las Notas piece will be turned into a pocket. This is also printed on lightweight paper, so I will reinforce it with craft cardstock. On the pocket, I'm sewing a fabric belly band just to add some more interactive elements to the inner cover. Then I sewed on the pocket and moved on to the next part of the inner cover. This one I'm keeping simple since the florals are already the center of attention, so I'm adding a simple fabric belly band that will later hold a piece of ephemera. I love to distress all of my cutouts to add a realistic vintage look to vintage printouts. Here I'm gluing on the inner right and left covers, and then I will be picking out a ribbon to reinforce the inner spine. Here I began to sew an inner and outer border to secure all the different embellishments to each other and to the craft text. I'm really happy with how this cover turned out. It's so simple, but it still conveys the romantic and nostalgic Mexican theme I'm going for. These are the reprinted journal pages that will be binded in our new cover. I absolutely love how it's all coming together, but we're not quite done. Now we're adding these ephemera pieces so that the new owner of this journal has lots to play with and journal on. These are printed on matte photo paper. They are from my vintage Latin American and Hasta la RAIZ digital printables. There's lots of vintage labels, tags, postcards, and other ephemera from Mexico and Spain. I cut all of these out. I glued them on coffee dyed premium copy paper. It is 28 pounds, and since it's been baked, it's sturdy enough to add some support to the lightweight photo paper and gives you more journaling space in the back. I sewed and distressed the borders to add an interesting tactile final touch to these and achieve a vintage look. Here's all this beautiful ephemera that will be added. This is the first signature, and we'll be going through the pages to paperclip on ephemera that can be moved around and journaled on later. Most of these journal spreads come from my digital printables. I wanted to recreate some of these by printing out each element separately and then adhering it to make it interactive. For example, this frame we're taping on is included in the printable, but I'm cutting it out separately here to make it a usable frame to hold your special photograph. I love turning small labels into interactive pieces by fastening them onto a page. You can then move it around and it's like a fun little thing to do on your page. This Los Angeles piece will be a large side pocket and the doily a flip out. This is also from one of my digitals. I cut out these elements separately to make them interactive on the page. just collaging a bit to show how some of these pages can be used. I'm leaving most of them untouched, of course, for your creativity. When I add these elements, I definitely keep color in mind. I'm always trying to make sure that each ephemera piece complements the spread. Even though it can be moved later, I want the first impression to be attractive to your eye. On this second signature, I'm adding the rest of the ephemera and lightly collaging. I definitely love how the red on this journaling card popped out with the blue background, so I'm going back to sew this on the corner to make it a corner pocket. The rest of the ephemera is glued on for light collaging or paper clipped on, always trying to find the perfect spot for it. I felt like the signature was missing some blank pages, so I added a couple of coffee dyed papers. These vintage wine labels were not glued on blank paper to give the owner the liberty to use as they want. I organized and tucked these into a small envelope. I went back to the first signature to tuck in some of the leftover ephemera in empty pockets and to find the perfect spot for the leftover labels. Here, I'm puncturing a hole to secure this label with a vintage fastener. For the last perfect touch to this journal, I'm collaging some large journaling tags. These are also in my digital printables, already collaged and ready to print, but here I'm doing it by hand for dimension and tactile look. Finding the perfect spot for this one was hard because I did like it everywhere, but in the end I thought it went well with the setup and journal spread to match the textile background of the tag, and I love the pink floral pocket which ties in to the pink skirt and the florals in the tag. For the next tags, I used the same process. I distressed and glued down each element. I sewed the border and added an eyelet. These smaller tags are super cute. I decided to embellish them with sari silk and knotted some fabric scraps. Lastly, I'm adding a couple of charms to embellish the fabric swatches on these pages. We're almost done with this updated new journal. To bind the pages, I'm marking down where we need to hole punch the holes on the cover. I decided to hole punch a 3/16 hole with my crocodile and add eyelets to make the binding process much easier. I have 2 signatures, so I added a total of 6 eyelets. Here I am marking down where the holes need to be on the journal pages. This page will be my template for making the holes on the rest of the pages. I'm binding the pages with wax linen thread and using a needle to make this process easier. It was hard to film this whole section while working on it, so I can't speak on the binding process, but there are tons of videos on this. It's quite simple really, but I can make a detailed one if anyone requests it. I'm binding the second and final signature. You'll see me pop up in a minute to make sure I'm doing this right. I'm going back to the inner cover to add the very final ephemera pieces. I couldn't be happier with the end result. It really shows how my style has developed and the experience I've gained from trying out different materials and how to make them best work with the equipment and illustrations I have. I have a flip through video out now where I go through each page. I've included lots of different textures that make these beautiful illustrations pop out. Every page is so interactive and inspires you to journal all your moments. We have to treasure the simple everyday moments as much as our exciting adventures. I think this journal invites you to do just that. I hope you guys enjoyed this process video. Thank you so much for watching. Please don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button for more videos like this. Thank you all.